When it comes to texting, there's an art to making a man think about you constantly. You don't need to bombard him with messages, nor do you need to pour out your heart in every text. In fact, the opposite is true. Subtlety, timing, and knowing what to say and what not to say are the key ingredients that will have him eagerly waiting for your next message. Stay tuned, because I'm about to share 10 texting secrets that will have him thinking about you even when you're not around. Each of these tips will keep him hooked, curious, and craving more of your attention. 1. The art of delayed response. Let anticipation build. One of the most powerful ways to keep him thinking about you is to master the art of delayed response. When you reply too quickly, it can give off the impression that you're always available, leaving him with little room to wonder what you're up to. On the flip side, if you take just enough time before replying, it creates a sense of anticipation. Think of it this way. If he sends you a message and you respond immediately every time, you take away the mystery. But when you hold off for a little while, especially after a particularly engaging conversation, you allow his mind to start spinning. He'll start wondering why you haven't replied yet, what you might be doing, and if you're thinking about him too. The key here is balance. You don't want to seem disinterested, but giving him a bit of space will make him more invested. Psychologists refer to this as the Zeigarnik effect, where unfinished tasks, or in this case conversations, are more likely to linger in someone's mind, so leave him wanting more by letting him sit with an unanswered text for a little while. 2. Send a random thought out of nowhere. You know that feeling when you receive a message out of the blue and it instantly grabs your attention? That's exactly what you want to create for him. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start a conversation. Instead, send him a random, intriguing thought or observation that isn't directly related to what you've been talking about. It could be something as simple as, "I just saw something that reminded me of you," or "I have a random question. Do you believe in fate?" These kinds of messages catch him off guard in a good way. They're not typical, and they'll make him pause whatever he's doing to figure out where you're going with it. This unpredictable approach will have him thinking about you long after the conversation ends, because you've left him intrigued and wanting to know more. 3. Use short and dry replies, but sparingly. Here's a little psychological trick. Occasionally throw in a short, dry reply when the conversation is flowing smoothly. It might sound counterintuitive, but hear me out. When a conversation is going great, and suddenly you drop a "yeah" or "okay" in response to something more substantial, it leaves him wondering if he's said something wrong or if you're losing interest. Now, the trick is to use this technique sparingly. If you overdo it, you'll come across as cold or uninterested, which isn't what we want. Instead, drop a short response at a peak moment, and then follow up later with something more engaging. That small moment of uncertainty will make him second-guess things, and as a result, he'll find himself thinking about you more. 4. Share something personal, but not too much. Everyone loves a bit of vulnerability, but oversharing too soon can be overwhelming. Instead, give him small glimpses into your life, just enough to make him feel like he's getting to know you on a deeper level without revealing everything. The goal here is to create a sense of intimacy without laying it all out on the table. For example, instead of telling him your whole life story, mention a favorite childhood memory, or share a quirky detail about your day. These little personal touches make him feel special, like you're sharing something just for him. But because you're not telling him everything, he'll be left wondering what else there is to know. That curiosity will keep you on his mind long after the conversation is over. 5. Ask thought-provoking questions. You want him to think about you when you're not texting, right? The secret to this is leaving him with a thought-provoking question that lingers in his mind. Avoid the standard, "How was your day?" Instead, dive deeper with questions that make him reflect, like, "If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?" Or, "What's something you've always wanted to try but never had the chance to?" These types of questions do more than just keep the conversation going. They leave a lasting impression. He'll find himself mulling over his answer long after he's responded, and he might even bring it up again later, wanting to dive deeper into the conversation. When you ask meaningful questions, you're showing him that you're not just here for small talk. You're genuinely interested in getting to know him. 6. Be playfully mysterious. A little mystery goes a long way when it comes to keeping someone intrigued. When texting, don't give away too much too soon. You can drop hints about something interesting you're doing or a story you want to share without fully explaining it right away. For example, say something like, "You won't believe what happened to me today," and then wait a bit before telling him the story. This playful tease will make him curious, and he'll be eagerly awaiting your follow-up message. The key here is not to drag it out too long, just enough to keep him on the edge of his seat. When he's left wondering what you're up to, he'll naturally start thinking about you more often. 7. Compliment him, but make it unique. Compliments are great, but the usual "you're cute" or "you're funny" doesn't quite stick. Instead, give him a compliment that he's not used to hearing, something that's uniquely about him. This could be something like, "I love the way your mind works," or "You have such an interesting perspective on things." When you give a compliment that feels personal and genuine, it stands out in his mind. He'll start thinking about how you see him differently from others, and that will make him want to engage with you more. A unique compliment not only makes him feel good, but it also reminds him that you've noticed something special about him that others might overlook. 8. Use sexting techniques occasionally. Sexting, when used sparingly and at the right moments, can be a powerful way to keep him thinking about you. It introduces a layer of intimacy and excitement that goes beyond regular conversations. However, the key to making this effective is subtlety and timing. You don't want to flood your interactions with overly explicit messages, but rather drop hints that leave room for his imagination to run wild. This balance keeps the tension alive and keeps him wondering when and how you'll bring that spark back. By occasionally incorporating flirty, suggestive texts into your conversations, you disrupt the ordinary flow and shift the dynamic. A well-placed compliment, a playful tease, or a subtly intimate message can trigger a surge of curiosity and desire. The unexpected nature of these messages creates anticipation and excitement, keeping him hooked and thinking about you long after the conversation ends. It's important that these messages are spontaneous and not part of a routine, ensuring that they stand out in his mind. However, it's essential to maintain the right boundaries. You don't want your conversations to revolve solely around sexting, as that can become overwhelming or lose its allure. The occasional use of these techniques keeps things exciting and unpredictable, making every message feel fresh and enticing. The unpredictability of when you might send a suggestive message adds an element of surprise, heightening his interest and making you someone he can't stop thinking about. 9. End the conversation on a high note. The way you end a conversation can have a huge impact on whether he keeps thinking about you after it's over. Don't let the conversation fizzle out with a bland "good night" or "talk to you later." Instead, leave him with something memorable, something that makes him look forward to the next time you'll talk. It could be a playful sign-off, like, "Don't stay up too late dreaming about me," or a more intriguing close, like, "There's something I want to ask you, but I'll save it for next time." By leaving the conversation open-ended or ending on a high note, you'll ensure that he's thinking about you long after he's put his phone down. 10. Be the first to end the conversation. Ending the conversation first is a subtle yet powerful move that leaves a lasting impression. When you're the one who wraps things up, you create a sense of control and mystery. Instead of letting the conversation drag on or fade out naturally, by being the one to say goodbye or "talk to you later," you keep him wanting more. This tactic works because it disrupts the usual flow, where both people wait until there's nothing left to say. By ending it at a high point, when the conversation is still engaging or light, you prevent it from losing energy. This keeps the interaction feeling fresh in his mind, and leaves him wondering what would have happened if the conversation had continued. There's also a psychological factor at play. When you're the one to end things, it shows that you're not overly eager or dependent on the conversation. This subtle display of independence can make you appear more confident and desirable. Plus, by leaving on your terms, you create an unfinished feeling, which makes him more likely to think about you once the conversation is over. The key here is to end the conversation gracefully. You don't want it to feel abrupt or cold. Instead, say something like, "I've got to run, but let's talk soon," or "I'll let you get back to your day, but I've enjoyed this." By leaving on a positive note, you'll stay on his mind without seeming unavailable or uninterested. If you have made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.